And we got to address the migrant crisis. And when y'all sent this to me in my email, I was absolutely stunned because we know what's happening over in New York. Actually, I'm not stunned. I'm not surprised. I'm not confused. I'm not surprised. We know what's happening in New York. We know that they over there on crime sprees and they using mopeds and throwing chicks into the pole, and they got crime rings where over 40 people is arrested and the ringleader is still running out there. We know what's happening over in Tennessee and that they starting to end up over in Boston and they hiding them in the Atlanta airport. And we know what's happening in Chicago, and Denver is saying y'all can't come here no more. And now they starting to evict them. And, we've done reports, so many extensive reports about how Chinese migrants are now going to TikTok to look for clues and get exact directions and instructions on how it is that they can get into the border much easily. Even though Texas is fighting a good fight, they getting into it over in Phoenix and Arizona and California and stuff like that, right? Without any kind of reservation whatsoever. And then they catching flights and they heading over to your city. And then you'll see them and they'll end up all the way in Minneapolis or something. And we like, well, how did they end up over there? How did a migrant wind up getting over here when they came in over there? Who gave them a ride? How did they get here? And so, I'm not going to get into the conspiracy theories today. I just want to have a conversation about what's happening out here in these streets. And I'm hearing that migrants is out here mollywopping people. But before we get into that, let's talk about making sure that we are compassionate towards them.
This is Chicago's very own WGN News at 9.
Good evening, I'm Micah Mater.
And I'm Ray Cortopassi.
New efforts today getting Chicago's migrant population jobs and keeping them fed and healthy.
But there are new concerns as well, and WGN's Angelica Sanchez is joining us now with more on this developing story.
That's right. Well, we spoke with a Venezuelan family who tell us nutrition, work opportunity, and shelter are among the many concerns they are facing as they welcome their newborn baby boy into the world.
So they're worried.
Benito Pinal is a volunteer helping a Venezuelan mother who just gave birth to a baby boy via C-section. He says she is concerned about the nutrition she will receive inside the Inn of Chicago, a shelter near the Mac Mile.
They continuously complain about the food here.
The migrant family's grueling journey to the United States lasted.
Imagine not even supposed to be here. Imagine being here illegally. Imagine complaining about the food that you're getting that's free. Imagine also getting the free health care, and we don't even know who you are. Imagine busting it down for a real one and having sex and getting pregnant and creating whole families here that's now considered American citizens because they were born on American soil. Also imagine them being intentional and having a child here in order to make sure that they do have an American citizen that's born here on American soil. See, we ignoring all of the signs that are trying to pull on your heartstrings in order to get you to accept that this is our norm, that this is something that we should be doing, that this is something that, should be participated in. And it's not right. In no way, shape, or form is this right, or should we be made to have sympathy for this situation, considering that this is illegal. It is not of the law. It is not. I mean, listen, I can accept it with legal migration into this country, but illegal immigration into this country and then have the nerve of you to sit here and complain about your conditions and getting free health care and getting free food and the quality of the food when you're getting it for free. And then you'll have Brandon Johnson over here in Chicago, because this is happening in Chicago. You have Brandon Johnson over here in Chicago talking about how awesome of a job we're doing to accommodate these people when they should not be here anyway. This is not supposed to be here.
Nearly 3 months, and yet they still have a long way to go. We spoke with the newborn's father. He wishes not to be identified for fear of retaliation. He says he's tried to rent an apartment for his family, but everyone asks for proof of income. He tells us his concerns in Spanish.
Nuestra preocupación es que se nos vaya a vencer el tiempo de salida y no tenemos por lo menos un permiso de trabajo.
He says while the...
How you gonna look to rent an apartment and you ain't even got a job? Jesus Christ.
The birth of his son is a blessing. The things keeping him up at night are future housing, the need for a work permit, and nutrition available inside city shelters.
Right there on the Magnificent Mile. right there in the heart of tourism capital, right there in the heart of over 30% vacancy rates, right where all of the tourists are and where people walk and they do their shopping and all of this stuff. That's where they got the migrants hanging out at and running it up.
Changes are underway inside shelters. Last week, the city of Chicago selected 2 local agencies, 77 communities, and 14 parish to provide meals for the new arrivals. In a release, the Department of Family and Support Services says, "We know that the new arrival mission is very complex, and being able to provide healthy, nutritious, and culturally relevant meals at a time when we know people need our help the most
Culturally relevant meals
is an important part of this work." At a press conference Tuesday morning, Mayor Brandon Johnson addressed work permits, agreeing not enough qualified migrants are receiving them. He wants states to have the ability to provide them.
I am concerned about it. It's why I've been in D.C. multiple times, and I've been in conversations with the Biden administration.
The 41-year-old Venezuelan father we spoke with says he's grateful for the help his family and newborn baby have received, but they are not here for a free meal. They want to work.
Eso es lo que queremos, trabajo, nada más.
No. Let me translate that for you from a C student's perspective. They are looking to displace you. Yeah, it's displacement that's coming for you. Oh, you thought that it was just as simple as, oh man, they just want to work. No. This is called, they're going to displace you. They're going to replace you. They're going to also be cheap labor, and it's also going to be an opportunity for them to have a pathway to American citizenship, and they're going to be in your schools if they're not already in your schools. They're going to continue to drive up your taxes because you are basically investing in them with your tax dollars in order to ensure that they accommodate it. You know, one thing that gets lost in this whole conversation is that the people are the ones that's paying for this, but the politicians are acting like it's their money. And they can designate it as an emergency or a crisis, which then gives them more authority to do what they want to do with your money. And people then say, well, no, I don't want to participate in the process and holding my elected leaders accountable or calling them or at the very least participating in the voting process. You're paying them. Why wouldn't you want to determine who it is that you want to pay? Because you have to pay no matter what. See, the taxes is going to come out of your paycheck. In order for you to live in any environment, you got to pay your property taxes. It's all coming out of your money. Now, how they manage the money and where they allocate it to is a completely different conversation, but it's your money. It's your money. You're paying for it. It's coming out of your pocket. And so why wouldn't you want to hold your elected leaders accountable? See, I'm doing all of the heavy lifting over here because I'm bringing you the information. I'm informing you. I'm letting you know what's happening under your own nose. You get mad at me and you say, hey, man, why you keep reporting on what's going on in my neighborhood and stuff like that? Don't you want to be informed? Don't you want to know what's who's going to displace you? Don't you want to know who's in the schools with your children? Don't you want to know where your tax dollars is going? Don't you want to know why you got to pay so many taxes in order to make sure that you support social services and why the police can't catch nobody? Don't you want to know why crime is out of control in your neighborhood? You don't want to know that, do you? You don't want to pay attention to it. See, I was on this early. I've been on this years ago. I've been reporting on this for a long time right here on the Millionaire Morning Show. Season after season, episode after episode, I've been bringing this to the forefront of the congregation to inform you of what's happening out here in these streets. Now, all of a sudden, it just became a worldwide phenomenon, and it's the number one issue. Now it just so happened to become the number one issue amongst people that are concerned about what's happening. See, I wasn't concerned when they said to open up the borders in the first place. Y'all wasn't concerned when Trump was in office and they said, listen, we need more resources for more border agents, technology, and to build bigger border walls and to plug in the holes where these people are coming in. But we just letting them in. And Congress fought them. Biden said that we're not going to build not another inch of border fence. He told you to your face. Right after, all throughout his candidacy, prior to and up to leading to Obama becoming president of the United States of America, he specifically illustrated that you cannot have any kind of American security or you cannot really become a real country unless you can protect your borders. And so that was one of the things that they campaigned on. That was one of the things that they advocated for. Now they're using it as a political pawn in order to try to fund wars and fund things that's also in American interest. And I don't even want to know. I don't even want to speculate. God knows what's possibly happening out here in these streets beyond that. But it is absolutely positively disrespectful. We leaning into it like we don't understand what's going on. And we're actually suffering and paying a price as a result of it. And y'all acting like it's not even a thing. But let me tell you what happens when you ignore it and you don't actually do the thing that's in your best interest. This is what happens in Nassau County.
President Biden's open border policies are not only igniting national security concerns, they're fueling America's crime crisis. We have new video of yet another violent migrant attack, and you will not believe this one. This video doorbell footage shows a migrant stealing a pro-Israel flag from a Jewish family's Long Island home. And one of the members of this family, by the way, lost a relative in the October 7th terrorist attack by Hamas. And there you see this individual taking that pro-Israel flag. That homeowner rushed to get his flag back, but the migrant immediately began punching him in the head. You see it there. Put him in a chokehold, headbutted him at least once. That's all according to the homeowner, and threw him to the ground. That migrant has been arrested and charged with a hate crime. Authorities say he's a Palestinian from North Africa. That's how he self-described. And he got into the U.S. illegally from Mexico back in November.
Wait. That's how he self-described. Let's break this down. That's how he self-described. So we don't really know. We have no real clue who these people are. That's how he self-described, that he Palestinian, but I'm from North Africa. This is how he so they got pronouns now too. Him, her, she, them. This is how he self-described. No clue. Listen, if I'm looking at the mugshot, if we just gonna keep it 100, if I'm looking at the mugshot, I would say that this person should not be here in the United States of America. It looks like he fit the description. If I'm looking at the mugshot, it looks like he fit the description.
At one point, the attacker repeated anti-Semitic slurs and was caught flipping the bird to a camera. That's becoming somewhat of a trend among these criminals. It was just like the migrant accused of attacking two NYPD officers. What an image. The New York County executive who announced the arrest summed up what many Americans are feeling right now.
We have a crisis. These are not the type of people who come to America like my great-grandparents did, like your great-grandparents and grandparents and parents who came to America to kiss the ground. Instead, they spit on our flag, they trample on our values, and they commit crimes. And they do so at taxpayer expense. This insanity has to stop.
I just want to pull up that side by side because it's so stunning. So this guy comes through the Mexico border in November, commits an alleged hate crime against a man who lost a relative in the October 7th attack. And Leslie, look at what they both do. They're both flipping the bird. This is the New York City cop attacker. And then there you have the migrant in this alleged hate crime. This is a trend in Joe Biden's America.
I would say, sadly, this is a trend, but it's not just a trend among illegal immigrants. There are 3 Palestinian students in Vermont, one who is now paralyzed, the perpetrator, an American citizen. There was a little boy who was stabbed 26 times to death because he was Muslim. These are just 2 examples. There's horrific attacks against Jewish people. There's horrific attacks against Muslim people,
and not all crossed our border illegally,
right,
that are
and not all by migrants. Again, something has to.
What does that have to do with the price of tea in China? What does that got to do with the price of potatoes in Idaho? And so I hate when people try to prove a negative by using another negative. That doesn't happen. Listen, basically all she's doing is substantiating the argument. And this is one of the problems, honestly. This is one of the problems, this woman and her narrative right now. You know why? Because basically what she's doing is she's justifying the action by saying that, well, this already happens. What that tells me is that we got enough problems already within our own borders that we need to solve for, and we don't need any more problems. So we're not going to sit here and let other people come in and then you won't tear up too. No. We got enough problems that we got to solve for. within our own borders, and you telling me that I now have to participate in what you got going on just because you. What does that have to do with anything? Listen, if I'm holding you accountable for going over here and robbing a store, what does that have to do with him over there and he's still in the car? You still robbed the store, and so you shouldn't even be here. At the very least, we know who this guy is. He got a criminal record. He got a background. We need to hold him accountable. Maybe we can reform him. Maybe we not. Whatever, so on and so forth. But you aren't even supposed to be here. You ain't even supposed to be in my crib, man. That don't have nothing to do with nothing. And let me just listen to it, because I'm reacting to this for the first time. It's my first time seeing it.
To be done. Absolutely. I have always agreed with this. No matter who was president, no matter which party was in power, something has to be done about immigration, not just because it's an election year, because it is a problem and it does contribute to crime. But the numbers show that the majority of crimes, violent crimes, are committed by American
citizens. Those are
citizens.
apples and oranges. And of course, we have space in our hearts to mourn those who are hurt in every type of crime, particularly what would look to be a hate crime. This is about coming to this country and demanding that the food they're being given for free isn't good enough. This is about coming to this country and crawling through spaces undetected so that they can break more laws when they get here, because otherwise they would go through a port of entry.
Thank you.
That's not what you're talking about, is whether or not we have space to see that Muslims are hurt too. That's not what this is about. What this is about is when people break our laws, they put their middle fingers up to the cameras. I mean, that's what Kayleigh's pointing out. And what they have in common is the way they got here. That's what we're talking about right now. And if you want to stop that, that's going to be a different type of a plan than to stop the two examples that you gave. The type here, you close the border. You get caught up in the last 3 years of 8 million people coming into the country. You get caught up on your justices being able to go through which claims are asylum and which people need to be deported right away. Of course, you know how I feel. If you came illegally, we send you back and you figure out how to do it the legal way.
And Emily,
get to the back of the line.
And I'm 100% in agreement with every single thing that she said. And it just so happened, let me give a round of applause to the black woman out here in these streets. And it just so happened to be a conservative black woman that had to break it down so that you can better understand exactly why we should not be tolerating this on American soil. See, listen, if I do it, then I'm going to get in trouble and I need to be held accountable because I am an American citizen. If you do it, you wasn't even supposed to be here anyway, so you're supposed to be on your best behavior. Look, if you go over to Singapore, and we already know that you can't play no games over in Singapore. I mean, from what I heard, I can't substantiate this, but just based off of the rumors, you got to be on your best behavior, because even if you throw some gum, if you litter, if you go over there and you start tearing up, they holding you accountable. They holding you accountable massively. We seen the woman, the Dubai woman, the woman that went over to Dubai, the truck driver chick, and she was over there causing a ruckus, and they had to arrest her, and they said, listen, you can't even come back into the country. We putting you out. We don't have those same standards. We don't hold people accountable. We don't have it to work, because when we go to other places, either you going to be on your best behavior or you not going. You can't go over there tearing up and doing what you want to do, but people can come over here and do whatever they want to do. And then not only do we not hold them accountable, but we also justify their behavior. That's dumb.
Homeowner who is the victim of this hate crime, I want him to be able to speak here. He said this is happening because of open borders. And before letting people in, we need to see their backgrounds. We need to protect our country, our citizens, our taxpayers, straight from the mouth of the victim.
Of course it is. Look at that. The video of your neighbor, of my neighbor, being attacked on his lawn. That is not only an assault, but it's an attack on all of America. Isn't that the whole point that we're talking about? That flagrance, the absolute lack of respect, the lack of respect for our commander-in-chief's words of deterrence, the lack of respect for anyone trying to enforce the laws. Those police whose salaries we pay that are in danger every day to show up and arrest this guy. He's facing over 4 charges. Who do you think is going to pay for his 3 square meals a day in prison or in jail? Us. We are. Exactly.
And you deserve it too. We deserve it, because this is what we voted for, and this is who has to pay for it now. And it's unfortunate because we still have people in this country that is justifying making sure that they continue to perpetuate this bad behavior. Yo, do you know that it's people? I was talking to women, a group of women online, so it wasn't in person. I was talking to a group of women online, kind of having a little back and forth in the debate, but at some point, because I wasn't getting paid for that, so I ain't even gonna promote that platform, and I'm not even gonna go there. But at some point, I just had to pull back and just stop talking in general because they were so gung-ho about how they were advocates for not having the border open just because Trump was one of the ones that advocated against it.